My name is Susan,
I'm Diana.
I'm Jenny.
and today we're presenting on Imagine Thrift. In 2017, 11.15 million tons of textiles ended up in landfills. In the following year, this number increased to 11.3 million tons. Textile waste is a growing problem and leads to several negative environmental effects. It is said that producing 1 kilogram of cotton emits more than 7 kilograms of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Along with that, 17 to 20% of the industrial water pollution is due to textile dyeing and treatment. These numbers are extremely alarming, especially since the apparel industry is expected to increase and amount to around $2 trillion in 2026. Without sustainable solutions targeting the waste produced, our planet will be faced with even more extreme environmental effects in the future. After speaking with a few individuals about their experiences with clothing consumption and disposal, I found that many consumers are very conscious about the waste that they could be producing. Several individuals expressed that they feel guilty not making use of clothing and therefore rarely dispose of textiles in the garbage can. They often donate or sell unused clothing, but find themselves faced with the same issue of not being able to make unused clothing of use to them. When asked about alternatives to donating or selling old textiles, most individuals said they were unaware of the upcycling options that were available to them. For example, an individual had no idea that their old textiles could be transformed into a plant hanger. After having these conversations, we realized that there needs to be a solution to textile waste that engages the customer in a fun, innovative way.
So, how do you solve textile waste? As Susan explained, textile waste is a huge issue that is only going to continue to grow and does not have a clear, easy solution. While there's not an end-all solution to textile waste, there are a variety of efforts being taken to try and diminish textile waste. Most notably, thrifting is a $28 billion industry that is only going to continue to grow. Thrifting has become a popular trend in recent years, especially due to TikTok, where many TikTokers take their followers along on thrifting trips and show their followers the great items they've found. However, going to thrift shops like Goodwill and the Salvation Army aren't a person's only option anymore. It has become increasingly popular to thrift online using online thrifting platforms, including ThredUp, Poshmark, and Depop. Facebook Marketplace is another popular place for an average person to sell their used goods for cheap. While thrifting is a great way to reuse items and reduce textile waste, what happens to the clothes that isn't sold? This could include articles of clothing that are too old or dingy or even damaged that people simply do not want. While thousands of articles of clothing are donated, not every single item is bought. This means that thrift stores still contribute to textile waste. So our solution is called Imagine Thrift, and our company is an upcycling company that focuses on taking the old, unusable textiles that you have hanging around your house and repurposing them into new fun items. Instead of reselling clothes or curtains or other textiles, we upcycle these fabrics into new imaginations. So how exactly does our company work? Our customers send us their old textiles and we turn them into creations. Textiles can be anything from a t-shirt to a bedspread to a curtain to any other possible fabric a customer may want transformed into a new imagination. If the customer prefers, they can choose to instead use a randomly selected fabric from our personal stock. This gives a customer the option of upcycling one of their own textiles or simply buying a product that is upcycled. Our creations include woven baskets, dog toys, headbands, a necklace or a bracelet, a quilt, a hanging plant holder, a tote bag, and a pillowcase. Other customizable creations are also available as well. So how does it work? To buy an upcycled product from Imagine Thrift, our customers will complete the following steps. First, customers will collect the unused textiles they want transformed into new imaginations. Next, our customers will visit our website and take the survey to select the imagination they want their textile to be upcycled into. The customer will follow the instructions on the website to place their order. Next, the customer will send us their used textiles if they chose to send us their own textiles. And lastly, our customers just have to wait for their new imagination to reach their door.
So here are a few images of our website where individuals are able to view our mission statement and learn more about the effects of textile waste. They can view past products that we have worked with consumers to create, as well as access the survey to assess the options for their old items. The survey is very simple, where we ask a few questions regarding the size of the item and the type of fabric if they are able to provide that information. Individuals are then provided with options to choose what they would like to turn their old item into. In addition to the survey, if customers have other ideas, they're able to submit them at the bottom of the page and we are able to review them.
So who cares about thrifting? We wanted to confirm that online thrifting is indeed a growing market and that it would be a wise decision to enter into this market. A 2021 study shows that the market for online resale industry has grown 69% in the last 3 years. Therefore, it is indeed a good choice for us to enter into an online upcycling business. Along with industry growth, we want to ensure that online thrifting platforms that already exist are actually being used and by whom. A 2021 survey looked at consumer experiences with online thrifting platforms such as Poshmark and ThredUp and found that 28% of 18 to 24-year-olds have used online resale websites and 8% intend to use resale websites. 19% of people aged 25 to 34 have used online resale websites and 9% intend to use a resale website. This indicates a substantial amount of interest in online thrifting. We did some market research to find out who our target audience is going to be. A 2021 study found that 46% of Gen Z and 46% of millennials have bought secondhand apparel at some point in the past year. This allowed us to narrow down our target audience to Gen Z and millennial women. So who are our stakeholders? Our main stakeholder is our customers. We have narrowed down our target audience to specifically target consumers who might be interested in upcycling their textiles. This includes Gen Z women and millennial women, as I just mentioned. And research also shows that these two demographics are the most likely to thrift and use online thrifting platforms. And these Gen Z and millennial women are more socially conscious and are typically middle class on the socioeconomic ladder. Some of our other stakeholders to consider are people who create our imaginations. Our business model requires us to partner with local designers and artisans who have the skills to create our imaginations. These designers use their own equipment, but are reimbursed for any wear and tear and are also paid for their services. These employees are key stakeholders for our business as we would not be able to operate without them. Another stakeholder for Imagine Thrifts is local thrift stores and local stores. While our business encourages customers to send us their own textiles to use, we do offer a variety of textiles to choose from. We will acquire these textiles by partnering with local stores and thrift stores such as Goodwill to take any unsold clothing or any other textiles off their hands.
After presenting our prototype to potential customers, we gathered a lot of insights. Several of the individuals that we spoke to really enjoyed the personalization aspect of our service and found the design layout to be very clear. The potential customers were excited that we can take any fabric or old item and turn it into something completely new that they can have a say in just by taking a quick survey. When asked about other upcycling businesses, most individuals had trouble thinking of any, even though there are some at the present time. That showed us that we have an opportunity to create something very impactful. Out of the individuals we spoke to, 75% said they were interested in our product. The 25% that said they were not explained that they do not buy very much clothing and so they would probably not use our service. Overall, speaking to these individuals was extremely helpful and validated many aspects of our idea.
So for competition, lots of competitors tend to extend beyond our model of having customers send in their unwanted fabrics and us repurposing it and upcycling it and sending new products back. And because a lot of companies offer more than just upcycled goods, a lot of them sell homemade and other goods, but homemade as in they go to the store and buy a big roll of fabric and then they turn that into 100 of the same shirt that they then sell. So we differ in that we focus entirely on reducing textile waste by repurposing and offering quality custom pieces that these other companies might also offer, but they don't focus entirely on it. And there's also a lot of DIY organizations that sell templates and patterns and like step-by-step guides on small Etsy shops and like Upcycle My Stuff that teach individuals how to upcycle their own things, but we take out the middleman and the extra steps and make it even easier by upcycling their fabric waste for them so they don't have to worry about figuring it out on their own. There's also a lot of bigger brands that take recycled waste and give them new life, like Urban Outfitters' Urban Renewal Collection, which uses dead stock and surplus fabric to create upcycled clothes. But unlike our solution, their products are mass produced, and instead of them being created from personal items that become custom pieces. And then there's also a lot of upcycling companies that only accept certain items or materials to be sent in, and lots that also might only create specific products. So for example, these are just some of our competitors. So Project Repat, their thing is they take their customers send in t-shirts and then they send them back a quilt. So that's an example of a company only accepting certain items in their case, t-shirts, and only offering one product back in return, in that case, quilts. And then Yellow Pterodactyl, a military apparel company, is similar in that they only accept one type of item, which is old military uniforms, but they offer a large array of products back, so like baby clothes or bears or bags or anything you might want, but it only accepts military clothing, and it's kind of limits their market to like military people. But then there's Reborn Clothing Co.'s Reborn Closet, which is just a part of their actual like big brand, but they accept anything, but they only have 5 offerings of products that you can get in return. And so we differ in that we accept everything and we can pretty much offer anything that you might want. And so then for cost structure, we don't have a lot of costs to begin with. So our initial funding comes from outside sources that like by outsourcing to partners. So they handle pretty much everything. And then our fixed costs are just salaries, and then variable costs are materials and tools and equipment that are stipend back to the partners that we partner with for a monthly stipend for their time and labor and equipment. And then for our revenue stream, our customers pretty much handle everything by purchasing, they have to pay the cost of labor and materials. And the pricing varies depending on the material sent in and what the finished product is, but regardless of our revenue streams from that. But besides that, we'll also have social media presence to do free advertising, and then we'll have website maintenance. So for our fruits of our labor, we are able to create a secure solution because the garment industry is massive, but the sustainable side is just beginning to emerge, and we found a niche within the market by offering the ability to have unique and custom products made from your own unwanted fabrics, which isn't something readily being done, at least not to the same extent that we're doing it. And it's not appropriable because each purchase is unique and it's based on the pieces that are sent in and the customer's desired end result. So the individual items are nearly impossible to replicate. So it kind of lends itself to a natural form of protection. And it's flexible in that it's self-sustained. So we can add or remove options from the site, and customers can suggest their own ideas, and the internal organization can be grown. And there's just a lot of room to grow. For scalability, as long as textile waste exists, Imagine Thrift can persist. So we have the ability to start small and expand, since most of our competitors are also other small companies. And so there's a lot of room to grow in the market. And there's also a solid interested consumer base beyond just the people that we got feedback from, because there was a 16% growth between 2016 and 2020 in secondhand apparel shopping. So there's a market there that's interested in trying to be sustainable in the way that they shop. So upcycling companies like us are in high demand and desirable. And then we're profitable in that we have few variable costs, and the majority of our costs are just actually incurred by the consumer, and everything is kind of outsourced to the partners. And then our pricing is just variable and adjustable. So it really just depends on what the customers want and the economic climate is. And then we use a design thinking approach application. So for the first part, to empathize, we acknowledge that the challenge is a massive undertaking, and getting to the root problems is super hard, considering the massive extent of the textile waste issue. We also realize that we can do something to alleviate the problem on a smaller scale by significantly cutting down on textile waste. And so to define, we did research on the problem and learning what other solutions there are currently and how we can improve upon those solutions. And so we discovered that there's lots of clothes that are donated to thrift stores, but there's fabric that even a thrift store can't take for numerous reasons that we can, and that's where we can step in. We also did research on who our market is. And then to ideate, Imagine Thrift was a concept of a self-sustaining business model, turning unwanted fabrics into new items that are going to be extended, or going to extend the life cycle of items. And then for our prototype, we designed a website, and to test, we ran customer feedback to see how desirable our solution was. And those were our sources.